Let us see now. Whenever the conductors are subjected to an external factors called as ice coating and wind pressure, how to calculate the weight of the conductor? So the weight of the conductor is calculated. The weight of the conductor is calculated with the shown figures. They are, first of all, let me assume that this is a conductor. Its cross sectional area was shown with a diameter of d meters. Over this conductor, we assume that there is an ice accumulated on its surface. Let us show that like this. Uniformly, the ice coating was happened for a thickness of t meters. Thereby, this was the thickness of the ice coating which is accumulated on the conductor small t. As I told that it is a uniform thickness, so that this side of the conductor is also subjected to a thickness of t meters. And the core diameter, conductor diameter is of d meters. So the total conductor with ice accumulated on its surface is d plus 2t. Okay. And also we assume that this ice coated conductor is subjected to a wind pressure which was blowing upon the conductor in this direction. So that what will be the weight of the conductor that we are going to calculate now. So we know in general WC is equal to weight of the conductor per unit length, whose unit will be kg per meter length. Here units are very important. In the unit itself you will get the formulas directly. So in addition to this weight of the conductor per unit length, we have to calculate the weight due to wind pressure and weight due to ice coating. So let me take an example of ice coating here. So ice coating with a thickness of t meters, and let me assume that weight due to that ice coating is equal to Wi. So that can be calculated by the known value called density of ice. So the weight of the ice Wi can be estimated from the density of the ice. Means they will give us the density. Knowing this density of ice, whose unit you have to convert that into kg per meter cube, as density is equal to weight per volume. So the density of ice was given, whose unit will be in weights as kgs and volume as cubic meter. So kg per meter cube we are known priorly, the density of ice. If you multiply it with volume, then obviously you will get the kgs. Okay. So the weight of the ice is equal to Wi, whose value is equal to density of the ice is to be multiplied with the volume. That is density multiplied by volume. Volume is cross sectional area of ice coating multiplied by the length of the conductor. Area into length is the volume. Here the area of the ice, if you calculate separately, this is the ice accumulated portion. This portion is the ice accumulated portion. If you check it around the color of the conductor, outside of this green color and inside this pink color, this portion of this entire thing is called as ice coating. So that cross sectional area you have to identify, that is area of outer circle minus area of inner circle. So what is the formula? Area here it is equal to pi d square by 4. So I mean to say that pi d square means entire outer circle is with weight of the total or diameter of the conductor including ice. So that d plus 2t whole square by 4. This is pi d plus 2t whole square by 4 is the area of the entire conductor including ice, minus I want the ice coating of a thickness of t meters. Then I have to subtract the cross sectional area of this conductor which is having a diameter of d. Then it should be pi d square by 4. Subtracting these two, I will get the cross sectional area of this ice. So simplify it. Then I can write this as pi by 4 into, expanding that, a square plus b square plus 2ab minus d square. Okay, so that plus d square minus d square get cancelled and its value is pi by 4 into 4t square plus 4 dt. For further simplification, the area of the ice is equal to pi by 4 into 4t was taken as common, then it will get it as 4t was taken as common, t plus d, so that 4 get cancelled and the area of the ice is equal to pi t into d plus t, This will be used here in the cross sectional area of the ice. Okay, so weight of the ice to be calculated is given by its density known value, which is defined in kg per meter cubic meter, is to be multiplied with cross sectional area of the ice. What we have calculated, its value is pi t into d plus t multiplied by length of the conductor. As I know that weight of the conductor is defined for unit length, 1 meter length. That is why in the length I will put it here as 1 meter. Since I have placed this length as 1 meter, here ice I will get in kgs for the same meter length, kg per meter, because conductor weight is also in kg per meter length. This is the mathematical formula for calculating the weight of the conductor including the ice. So weight of the ice is equal to density of the ice multiplied by area into length. Area is pi t into d plus t and length is 1 meter. In the same line, we have to calculate the wind pressure. So coming to the wind pressure, weight due to wind pressure Wp is to be calculated. So to calculate the weight of the ice, we know the density. From the density we calculated weight of the ice. In the same lines, to calculate the wind pressure weight, we require the pressure that was acting on the conductor, which is measured in terms of kgs of projected area. They will give in this format. Projected area, the amount of the pressure that was acting upon the conductor, this is the amount of the pressure Wp. Its effective is of the wind of the pressure Wp, wind pressure, which was given in terms of kgs of projected area. But now I want this Wp with the help of the pressure. So wind pressure is to be multiplied with projected area. Area is nothing but the diameter or its entire thickness multiplied the length. In the length I will take it as here 1 meter, similar to our previous discussion. Then what is its projected diameter? Its value is d plus 2t. This much amount of thickness conductor is allowed in the wind pressure d plus 2t, which is to be multiplied with its projected area, projection called L, whose length is to be considered as 1 meter. Then wind pressure weight is equal to weight due to wind pressure Wp is equal to pressure given multiplied by d plus 2t into 1. This will be helpful in calculating kgs per meter. Altogether the net weight will be, so the net weight, if you consider, we can calculate that net weight here. Let me assume that this is the conductor. So wind is flowing in this direction, therefore this is the weight due to wind pressure acting horizontally. and this is vertically acting weight is weight due to the conductor plus weight due to the ice, WC plus WI, which is our calculated values. Now taking the phasor sum of these two, the resultant is obtained. That resultant is WR, which makes an angle of theta. Thereby the resultant weight magnitude is given by WR, whose value is equal to square root of WC plus WI whole square plus wind pressure weight WW square, wind weight, so that it is the WR. Then the sag can be calculated. S is equal to WX square by 8T for a uniform support levels or equal support levels. Then I'll write this as WR L square by 8T. This is the sag, vertical sag. This is the vertical sag in our calculation, but we want in general slant sag. I mean to say, this is general sag, this is general sag, what we have calculated. We want in general this sag, vertical sag. So vertical sag is equal to the calculated sag S into cos theta, where theta is the deviation due to its wind pressure, so that the vertical sag is equal to slant sag WR L square by 8T is to be multiplied with cos theta. Cos theta is adjacent side by hypotenuse, so that the adjacent side is WC plus WI is to be divided with its hypotenuse WR. So final formula is vertical sag is equal to the calculated sag into cos theta. The calculated sag is given by a basic formula WR L square by 8T. Cos theta is WC by WC plus WI by WR, and WR is the resultant weight due to the ice accumulation and wind pressure. So as per our Pythagoras theorem, WR is equal to square root of WC plus WI whole square plus WW square. To get this WI and WW, these are the procedural steps for finding out the ice coating weight and wind pressure. So up to now we discussed the magnitudes of the sags in 3 case studies. The first case as equal support levels, and the second case as unequal support levels, and the third case as the weight of the conductor whenever it is subjected to ice coating as well as wind pressure. So with all these, again we have to calculate during the erection part how much sag is to be given in our according to this calculation it is okay, but in real time applications what are the magnitudes of the sags to be followed, which will be given with the help of an sag template. So template is nothing but it is a profile based upon the previous data history. The calculations of the sags will be with us. So depending upon the templates, we will follow again the deviation how much we have to give it for erection the transmission line. So coming to the sag template, as I told you, the template is nothing but it is already an existed curves based upon the past history. So the purpose of the sag template is, it is an essential to allocate the position and height of the support correctly on the profile. So the heights are to be selected in an accurate manner based upon the profile. So which will be happened with known values of the curves. The curves are mainly categorized into 4 types of curves. They are called as hot curve, ground clearance curve, support curve are also called as tower curve, and cold curve. Cold curve is also called as uplift curve. So the 4 following curves will be helpful for analyzing the heights of the supports in an accurate manner. What are they? Hot curve or hot template. The second one is the ground clearance curve, and the third one is the tower curve, and the fourth one is the cold curve or uplift curve. So let us see point by point which curve will be helpful for us when taking place. So coming to this hot curve, the name itself says that it was the curve or the profile of the conductor path in between the two towers whenever the climatic conditions are assumed to be at maximum temperatures. So at maximum temperatures, we know that sag is directly proportional to temperature and the profile of the conductor path will be different. So we have to consider this hot curve while erecting the while erecting the conductors or deciding the heights of the towers. See, what is the definition of hot curve? It is the curve plotted by sags calculated at maximum temperatures against the span lengths. As I told you, this is the curve given. This curve information is about the sag values which are calculated at maximum temperatures. Those maximum temperatures are taken from the past history. Okay, so it shows the location of the tower to be placed to maintain the ground clearance. If we exclude this hot curve and we had calculated the height of the tower, then whenever it was placed in the real-time application, because of its maximum temperatures as it is directly proportional to the sag will be increased than the calculated value. So whenever the sag increases, we know the drawback, the ground clearance will be decreased. So we have to keep in mind that the sag calculated should also be verified with the maximum temperature sags values. Like that we have to fix the height of the supports. And next, the ground clearance curve. This ground clearance curve, the name itself says that the clearance curve is below the hot curve, because hot curve is nothing but maximum sags. In addition, we will give some more tolerance and we will provide some more sag. Then I will give the clearance. If I join all the profiles of the clearance, then I will get the ground clearance curve which is below the hot curve. Okay, so it is drawn parallel to a hot curve at a distance prescribed by the regulations, taking it as a tolerance into consideration. And next, the third one is support foot or tower curve. Support or foot or tower curve. This curve is drawn for locating the position of the supports for the tower lines in general, which will be used for deciding the exact position where we have to locate the towers. And cold curve or uplift curve. This is the curve which is considering the minimum operating temperatures like winter seasons and rainy seasons. Because of ice accumulated on the conductors, the temperature will be cooled down, so that minimum temperature sags will be minimized, ground clearance is increased. So cold curve or uplift curve is nothing but it is drawn by plotting the sags at minimum temperature exactly opposite to the first one, that is hot curve, without wind or ice against the span length. If you check the profiles of all these four curves, it looks like this. The first one is the uplift curve, the second one is the tower curve, footrest, and the third one is the hot curve, and the lowest one, below one is the lowest one, this below one is the ground clearance curve. These are the ways of sag templates. Next, stringing charts. The purpose of this stringing charts is, with minimum and maximum temperatures are known as per the records, then we have to calculate all the sags against this minimum and maximum temperatures. If you plot a graph between the sag and temperature, and if you plot a graph between sag and length, then we will get a stringing chart which will be helpful for knowing the sag values other than the calculated before erecting the transmission line. So checking about this stringing charts, the minimum and maximum temperatures are known from the records of the previous years. As I told you, we will take 10 years back temperatures, minimum and maximum, and we will calculate the sag values. Later, after identifying the temperatures from the recorded previous history, the sags are determined at the ranges of these temperatures. Then we will draw a graph profile, that is sag versus temperature, and tension versus temperature are plotted and are named as erection sag curves or stringing charts. then the stringing charts will be helpful for us in this way. These charts find the charts what we have drawn will be find their utility while stringing the conductors so that they are adjusted to the proper sag and tension, and that the line will not be broken at any temperatures to which it will be expanded in the service whenever it is exposed in the service. At any temperature, the sag at any span of the point is given by S2 is equal to S1 into L2 by L1 whole square, because we know that sag is directly proportional to sag is directly proportional to span length. S is directly proportional to L square. And next, coming to here, this shows the stringing chart curves which will be helpful for us. Temperature versus tension and temperature versus sag. For minimum and maximum temperature, the ranges are identified from the past years. So in between that identified temperatures minimum and maximum, we will calculate the tensions and also we will calculate the sags. Those two are drawn with respect to temperature. So observing here, as the temperature increases, the tension on the conductors gets decreased. Since tension gets decreased, the sag is inversely proportional to tension. As I told you that the sag is inversely proportional to tension. So as tension decreases, the sag increases. Okay, that the same thing you can observe here in the graph. That is, as temperature increases in the x direction, the tension that was acting upon the conductor gets fallen down. Because of this tension fallen down, inversely the sag happens, that is increasing the sag value opposite to tension, because sag is inversely proportional to T. So such a type of different tensions over range of the temperatures are calculated priorly before erecting a transmission line, and sag values are estimated. These charts will be helpful for us in exactly finding out the magnitudes of the sags over tensions against the temperatures. So up to now we cleared all the parts related to sag, factors affecting the sag, and case studies with equal supports, unequal supports, ice accumulation, wind pressure, and next the curves which are useful for erecting the transmission line called sag templates, and finally the stringing charts.